All right, boys and girls, I'm on part 2 of chapter 5. It's the top of page 49. Here's Garth's poem. Roses are red, frogs are cool. Now we've got one here at school. He folded up his paper. That's it. Mrs. Brisbane reminded him that the poems were supposed to have 6 lines, and Garth's poem had 4. Personally, I was in shock. Frogs are cool? What kind of poem is that? After I helped him and AJ with Mean Bean, Garth wrote Frogs Are Cool. We didn't have time for any more poems because the recess bell rang and my classmates raced to get their coats and gloves. Tabitha took her time, waiting to see that no one was watching, and secretly stashed her bear in her pocket. Saye stayed behind too and approached her. I liked your poem. Is Smiley your bear's name? She asked. Tabitha nodded, but she didn't say anything. She didn't know how shy Saye was, or how hard it was for her to come up and talk like that, but I knew. He's nice, said Saye. Are you coming out to recess? Tabitha nodded again. Saye waited, but when Tabitha didn't budge, she said, See you outside, and she hurried to the cloakroom with her head down, looking embarrassed. I've got to admit, Speak Up Saye is a favorite friend of mine. To see Tabitha treat her that way made me mad, mad, mad. She was about as friendly as a frog. The new girl waited until everyone else had left the room before rising to get her coat. Later, after the students left for the day, Miss Loomis came into room 26, all bundled up in her coat, hat, and gloves. Hi, Sue. I'm ready when you are. She walked over to Og's cage. How's your star pupil doing? Fine. He and Humphrey seem to get along all right. At least they don't disturb each other, said Mrs. Brisbane. Don't disturb each other. I was pretty disturbed when Og leaped at me. Mrs. Brisbane put on her coat. Let's stop for coffee to warm us up on the way home. Sounds great, Miss Loomis answered. I can't thank you enough for giving me a ride. What are friends for? Asked Mrs. Brisbane. After they left, I felt as gloomy as the sky looked. Spinning my wheel warmed my fur up, but it didn't make me feel any warmer inside. What are friends for? For fun and talking and helping and sharing, right? Hey, Og, I called out, peering through the bars of my cage at his glass house. I hope you've been paying attention here in room 26. I waited a few seconds to allow him to answer, which he didn't, of course. I hope you've seen what good friends the kids are. I mean, like Garth and AJ, the way they stick together, and Heidi and Gail, the way they like to wiggle. Saye and Miranda are pals. Art and Richie, too. Wouldn't it be nice to have fun friends like them? I didn't actually expect an answer, of course, but this time I did get something. Splashing. Splish, splash, splish. At least I knew Og was alive. Maybe he was even listening. I kept going. Even if we can't actually talk to each other, we could, I don't know, have jumping contests. Suddenly I had all kinds of ideas. We could sing together or make funny faces at each other. Maybe you could teach me how to go boing, boing. I almost fainted. Was he answering me? Boing, I said, though I didn't sound much like a frog. Boing to you, Og. Boing, boing, said Og. Yeah, boring, I replied. My heart was thumping quite loudly. Were we actually having a conversation? So what else is new? I continued. I waited, but there was no answer. Og? I called out. Og, answer me. Silence. This was one frustrating frog. I tried again, but there was no more boings, not even a splash. The room was silent as a tomb. That's about as quiet as it can get. Somehow, it felt even worse to think that Og tried to talk to me and gave up. Still, Saye had learned a brand new language when she came to this country. Maybe Og and I could learn to understand each other. I returned to my wheel and started spinning as fast as I could. I spun until it was almost dark. At last the door swung open and lights came on. "I have arrived," Aldo announced, waving his broom. "No applause, please." "Hello, hello, hello," I shouted. I was never so glad to see anybody in my life. Aldo hurried towards my cage, rubbing his arms. "Hey, it's cold in here." "They turn the heat down at night to save money, but it's freezing outside, and it's almost freezing in here," said Aldo. He turned to Og's cage. "Hey, Og, how's the world treating you?" When Og didn't answer, Aldo turned back to me. "He's the strong, silent type, I guess. Say, Humphrey, old pal, I've been thinking about that idea of getting a better job, you know. Maria thinks I should go back to school." I tried to imagine Aldo sitting at a little table all day with Miranda, Richie, and Seth. I didn't think his legs would fit. "I could go to college during the day and still work here at night." "College? I hope they had bigger chairs there." Aldo pulled up a chair so we were practically whisker to whisker. "See, I went to college for a year. When my dad died, I quit because I needed to make money. I thought I'd go back, but I never did." "It's never too late," I squeaked. Aldo shook his head. "I'm not a kid anymore." He reached into his pocket. "Maria got me this application for City College, but I don't know." "City College? That's where Natalie, the babysitter, went. She said that's where people go to become doctors and lawyers and teachers. That's where people go to study things like psychology and get good jobs." "Go, go, go," I said, hopping up and down. "Maria thinks I'm smart enough," said Aldo. "I just don't know if I can handle all that studying." He sighed and rose from his chair. "Guess I better get this room cleaned or I won't have a job at all." Aldo tucked the application back in his pocket. "First, I'm going to go turn up the heat." Good old Aldo. He was a thoughtful guy, and a smart guy, too. I hoped his wife could talk him into going back to school. I wasn't sure if I could do it all by myself, and I was pretty sure Og wouldn't be any help at all. One of the most beautiful qualities of true friendship is to understand and to be understood. Seneca, Roman playwright. And that's the end of the chapter. See you tomorrow.